Yes, it is time for Spook indeed. And we have him in now. Welcome, Spook. Spook is my boss. He is the founder of the Moonizens NFT project, the Genesis collection that's about to launch. And I forced his hand, made him come here. Even though he said no, I said too bad. Just kidding. So, but no, welcome, Spook. How are you?
Welcome.
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Good, good.
Well,
We're doing good. Better now that we've had our shots. Neil has recorded 2 in a row, but
not my
other than
fault.
that, we're
And
we're alive.
he
That's
enjoyed
good.
Spook, you've been listening into the podcast. You've been really supportive of me, us doing this thing. Thank you for that. Why did you agree to come here? I didn't tell you I was going to ask that, but what are you thinking about why? Why did you do that?
First of all, it's really like the concept itself. It's really awesome. Like it's really entertaining. That's what I like. Like I'm a podcast kind of guy, but it's rare that I get like hooked on one. And and what you guys have right now, it's really interesting. And I really like how you you guys are just having fun. And it's kind of chaotic at some points. Like sometimes it jumps like the conversation we talk about goats. You guys talk about goats and stuff like that, so that's really funny. And um I just really enjoy listening to you guys, so
Thank
I
you.
said yes. Say yes.
That's awesome. I thought you were gonna say Neil threatened me, so I had to do.
Also, he told me, hey, if you don't do this, you're gonna end up like the other two goats. And I'm like,
There it is. There's the truth.
Oh my gosh. So Spook, tell us about yourself. Who are you?
Um, the best way to describe me will be like an artist. That's how I perceive myself. I know there's more like layers to who I am as an individual, but I just see myself as an artist. If it's relating to my background, uh, I was born in Puerto Rico, really boring, really hot, but um, basically an artist. That's how I consider myself. I don't I don't have I don't think about that question ever. I just exist. Basically, that's how I see it.
That's fair. But are you actually an alien in disguise?
Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I'm not gonna tell you.
You should tell us.
No, if I tell you it's no fun for the big reveal. What fun do
Give
I
the
have?
alpha.
Yeah. No, that's
um,
the ultimate alpha.
so that's the ultimate alpha. That's both funny and also terrifying.
That is,
Um,
yeah.
we've been talking about sci-fi today since we're coming on. So I I'm less convinced of what I thought I knew after that answer. What else we got, guys? What else you want to ask him? I need a second. I got to reset my brain.
Neil had a question, and then mine was kind of a follow up, but it was about the space prior. Is that the one?
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to know what your first experience in the NFT world was.
It it was really good. Like I discovered NFTs by accident. I One of my favorite artists, his name is Peter Moorbacker. And he used to have this like podcast type of thing in YouTube. It was called One Fantastic Week. And then every single week they brought like guests and all these things, and I heard about NFTs. I was into crypto at that point, but I didn't know what an NFT was. And then he started explaining the concept of everything. And then I opened my Twitter that I didn't use since like 2012. Like I had the account, but I never used it. So I started doing some research and then I started joining spaces and I saw how fun it is and how much potential the technology itself has. Because in the past, for example, it was really hard for artists. I think, like, in essence, I consider the NFTs like the art to be an utility. Some people disagree, and it's completely fine. But at least from my point of view, before as an artist, if you were doing like digital art itself, there was no way to basically give someone ownership. Uh, about that artwork that does require a lot of time to do. And then the NFTs open this door for that to be possible. And I found it to be really interesting. That was like my first exposure. Basically, I went there with Ooga Booga brain, and I was like, okay, art digital now can sell, people can own. But then the more I heard people talking in spaces, it was like, no, this is even bigger. It can serve like access passes, it can do all these other things, and then you create a really big community um out of this. This is really interesting. So that was like my experience in the space was really positive. Like completely, I was always lurking, and I kept making these scenarios in my brain where I was doing NFTs and actually doing a project, but I never went with it until one day I just woke up and I said, okay, I'm just gonna do it.
So terrifying, two terrifying things from that. He's always been lurking. He's an alien. All right. And also Ooga Booga. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I caught those.
Have you heard of the aliens? What are they called? Lemurians or something like that? Lemurians? I don't know. That's what like the Moonies look like.
I don't know what you're talking about. Going on mute. Oh, something.
I don't know.
Have you ever
that
heard of
one.
that, Spook, or no?
No, no, I have not heard
It's
about
probably
that.
like a local thing over here. Like supposedly they're like the first to be here on Earth, and they live under the mountain. They're called Lemurians, and there's a whole like story about it.
Is that the one? Is it from Agartha? Like the civilization that's supposedly is hidden? It's like a really
Yeah, it's
advanced
something like that. Yeah.
civilization. Yeah,
Hmm.
then I've heard about that for sure. It's really
That's probably what
interesting.
Spook is. One of those guys.
That's why he's heard of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Got you. This is got you journalism. We got you. Just kidding.
Got
What was
exposed.
that? What was the reference to
Busted.
Parks and Rec? What's it been like, since how you found NFTs, since finding the space of cryptocurrency, Web3s, what's it been like for you in the space?
It uh it has been really good. It has helped me like develop some skills that I didn't even know I had. Um, from good or bad experiences for sure. Um, but it has been really positive in general. Like I think most not all artists, but it's like a curse. People in art are really invested in art have, which is we tend to be really um we tend to be introverts, and the NFT space like um opens like I said, like this door also for people to be more open because it forces you to do it, which is good. Like most of the time when you're doing a painting, you let basically your artwork do the talk. Like you don't need to talk sometimes to even get hired in companies for like concept design or anything like that. You just show your portfolio and you can get hired on the spot. Like there's so many, but the sense of community that NFTs have forces you to get out of the comfort zone of that being so, trying to look for the word, like from being so like a shy person basically. Like if you want to present your project, you need to go up. Like e- either you do that or then no one is gonna know about your project. And I think that's really good. Aside from the technology, but I think the community aspect is what more impactful about it. Like
In your
also
experience,
meeting
like,
new people.
are you saying like in your journey, the community's been what's been most impactful?
Yeah, and the people you meet. Um, even um, for example, right now with the team for the Moonizens, it was I met you guys on another project, and it has been one of the most amazing experiences that I've had. Like I'm like I said, I'm a person. I only have like two best friends, maybe one and a half, because the other one is on another planet. But at that point,
Alien.
and yeah, alien. That guy is an alien. Love him, but an alien for sure. No, but the thing is that I never had I I never experienced that you could have like connection with people just by being online. I played like online games and all that, but I never established a connection with those people. And then I met you guys, and a connection was established like really fast. So I think not only NFTs, crypto in general allows you to do that. Other communities do the same, but sometimes with the involvement and how active and even volatile like the crypto space is, NFTs also like so much going on, it forces you even more to interact with people.
Yeah.
So that um gets you to meet new people, awesome people that you wouldn't have thought to even connect in the real world, basically.
So, Spook, you were talking about the last project you were on and interact with still to this day. What were you looking for in the people that you wanted to be a part of your team when you were picking out people that you wanted to go on this? What specifically to help you?
Honesty. That's the first thing. And not like the first thing I was looking is for people that will give me feedback and will be honest enough to tell me when one of my quirky ideas was bad. Some people don't work like that, but I completely work like that. One example is Lead. The first time I talked to Lead about my project, it was a disaster from my end. I was nervous. I didn't know what to say, and he said he was really honest with his feedback in a nice way. Like he wasn't being like mean or anything, but he's like, you need to organize yourself. But then I found other people that I interacted with them, and I could tell them I'm gonna make the Moonizens to be a rice ball, and that's it. And they're like, great idea. It was always like, yes, 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 yes. Like that's a great idea, no matter how bad the idea was. And that was one of the interactions that I had. Also, people that I could talk to and that we have the same mindset and the same goal. Like I think in order to learn, um you should have some kind of conflict. So it's not that I want people agreeing with me all the time, but I don't know if that makes sense. I think,
Like-minded.
anyways,
It's
yeah,
important.
like-minded. But honesty was the first thing, and that's what I'm so grateful for. Like I've had one of the most impactful conversation recently was with Neil. I called him, and it was when we were planning the project. I remember I sent him like 5 drafts of what the project overview was, and his feedback wasn't like, this is great, this is amazing. He acted as a really good friend, and he told me, it sounds good, but him knowing me, like, this does not sound like you. It seems like you're trying to be something completely different, basically. You're not being truthful, and when I talk to you, is it's not the same as what I'm reading. And that basically changed the and move forward everything. Like that conversation really impacted me in that moment, because I love drawing, I love what I'm doing and all that, but the approach I was having wasn't my own experience, was basically on the research I did. You know, you hear other people in spaces and you're like, oh, I need to innovate in this way. So I was pushing myself to um do things that simply weren't fun for me. And I even told him, and I have no shame in saying it, like I was feeling a little bit burned out because I was trying to pretend I was pretending being someone else. And then after that conversation, it took me like 2 days or 1 day, and I showed him, and he said, "This is you. Like over here, I can see you," and that was really important. That's why I think honesty, and that's what in a team, that's what matters the most. That kind of honesty, like they're not mean, but if I have a bad idea, they will say it, and I appreciate it because I know that they're doing it um, with good intentions, for sure. Sometimes we may disagree and all that, but we can always find a happy medium. And also another thing I wanted is that for all of us to be nerds. Basically, we're a bunch of nerds in a project.
Until you hear what we talked about prior to this, Spook, you'll be happy I'm on your project.
I love your answer to that. It actually makes me like you even more. Not that I just, but just I didn't really. That answer was like, stop laughing. It just shows that when it comes to having a team and having people that work with you for you, my whole thing when you're working with people is match my effort. Just match what I do, because if I have somebody that I'm working with and they give the same back to me that I give to them, it's like you're gonna succeed. When you're talking about honesty, and you, I absolutely love Lee. Lee is just one of the best. I can see that with Lee, and when you're talking about people giving you feedback, you can really tell who is behind you, wants you to succeed, believes in what you're doing, and wants to be a part of that by them giving you that honesty and that feedback. I don't ever want to hear what you think I want to hear. I want you to be honest with me because you care. When you're honest, you care. If you're just telling somebody what they want to hear, that doesn't mean anything to me. So it's kind of neat to hear your reasoning for picking people. I was smiling the whole time you were talking about Neil, because Neil is just a gem that I think is like hidden in Web3 that we're trying to expose a little bit. He's so humble, and he stays like, he just never talks about some of the stuff that he's helped other people with, or that personally he's helped me through with this whole NFT journey. And he's really such an awesome person. I don't know how I lucked out with him and Dragon in this, but yeah, you definitely picked a good one with.
Yeah, he's an amazing individual. Like I say all the time, and I'm humble. And the person that brought us together also, like I wanted to say that this is Mega Megatron. He believed in me from the first sketch, and Mega has been basically the person that has helped me grow from um from day one. Like I shoot him a message out of nowhere. I went out on a limb, and just something, I don't know why. Like I wasn't like sending 25 messages to a bunch of people to see who could reply. I I I just found him, and I decided to shoot him a message. And from day one, he believed in everything. And then he exposed me to Neo, to Icarus, like to Travis, which is Travis is also another person.
Sneaky
He
Pete.
is
Sneaky peek.
he is an amazing individual. Like
I couldn't, Spook.
w-
Is it okay if I interrupt you just
yeah,
briefly, respectfully? It's funny because one of the things early on in my journey through this Web3 world was finding Megatron, General Mega now on Twitter. And I always said, even when things would get hard for different reasons, that wherever Mega goes, I go. Right? Like I always said that because I trust his intentions in the space. I trust what his personal, like as a person, his life goals are. Like for Web3, those are visions that I'm behind. Like I want those to succeed, right? And what's funny about that is I heard him say those words about you, and he said, "Where Spook goes, I go." And I was like, "Man, that's all I need to know." You know what I mean? So, and I got to know you on the side besides that, because by then me and you had become friends. And that was, it made sense to me when he said it. But like it's funny because I respected Mega so much back in the day, and I still do. I'm not saying that respect still is there, but when when you talk about Mega, like it's funny because my saying about him was what he started saying about you. And so you also talked about like-mindedness before, and I would say that that's something that absolutely. But sorry to interrupt. I just had to add some context to that. That was important to me.
Yeah, he is an amazing leader. Like I always say sometimes like, oh, he's also really good at helping me with my quirky ideas sometimes. Um I mean sometimes because not all of them are bad, but sometimes I have really out of the box ideas and he just guides me to make them better. And I feel we connect on so many levels. Sometimes he sends me a message and he's like, "Oh, I thought about this," and I'm like, "You have to be kidding me!" And I send him a sketch of exactly what he was thinking. Like he's like, "Oh, I have this idea for the Moonizens," and then I'm like, "You have to be kidding me!" Because right now I just finished this sketch, and also the structure that he gives me. Like what I also like um I don't like Neil knows this. I don't like being in the spotlight and Mega is always like, well, you at some point are going to be in the spotlight. But I don't want to. I want all of us as a team to be in the spotlight because nothing of what people are seeing even in the website right now prior to launch wouldn't have been possible or developed the way it wasn't for each single person in the team and even people outside the team. Like there's like small comments that people make. Another person is Garcia. He's someone that's from Puerto Rico just like I am. And when I met him, we connected so much. And he always comes with like small ideas. He just shoots them at me, and then I get creative and I develop them. And and I don't. I think small ideas. It's a bad word. It's just an idea. Like it doesn't matter the size or like how many words you use. It's just that type of feedback really shapes and has an impact on everything that what I'm doing. So I wouldn't dare to go anywhere and say like, oh, I came up with it with this 100% because it's not the truth. Like I came up with some of the idea, but the people that helped develop it are the people that I surrounded myself with.
I think that's a cool answer. And really good points when you're talking about not wanting to be in the spotlight. And you really don't see that in this space. There are way more founders that thrive on that. I don't know that you know what I'm saying, like that spotlight. They love the attention. They love the appreciation for things. The whatever can build up their ego. That's common. And I think that is awesome to hear another founder that really puts a team together and realizes how much teamwork is needed to be successful, and isn't afraid to say that. I mean, obviously the project wouldn't exist without you, but I think it's amazing to have that openness to say, yeah, but the team, it takes teamwork, and all of us collectively together is what is. So I think that's cool. It shows appreciation for the team that you put together, their hard work, and really shows your humility and really just what your goal is. I mean, you don't want to be in the spotlight. You want your project to succeed, and you want your art to be seen, and that's what's important, not the everyone kind of building your
And not
starting to.
only mine. Oh,
No, go ahead.
not only mine, my artwork. Like I want also people in the team to be creative as well, and also in the community. Like I I don't see anyone as competition, and before it's taken out of context, what I mean by that is that I compete with myself when it comes to art, and I just want to provide people the best I can do. So my competition is with myself, and and but I want also to maybe show other people that they should compete with themselves. If in the community someone has a question, I don't have any secrets. Like you ask me how to draw a hand, I will teach you how to draw a hand. Hey, I'm having issues with this. I will help you to the best of my ability. If your project, you launch a project and your project does better, I don't mind. Like it it will be an honor basically. Like that's one of the things I did in Puerto Rico. Um I used to give like workshops to kids, and it was some of those kids right now are working even for a studio or stuff like that. And can I they will kick my ass basically, like right now when it comes to painting, like no questions asked. But I'm happy about that. And that's what I want to promote. And also I want to promote other communities. I think um if I like something you're doing, I'm gonna say it. For example, Chris Vaughn, what he's doing, I like it. I'm gonna share it. Even in the Moonison space, I'll shout them out. If the Misfits, I love the Misfits, what they're doing, I'll shout them out. Like I don't mind. If I can bring some, if my community can be exposed to all these other projects, it's better. Like for me, it's the best feeling in the world, because when you think too much about yourself and only you focus 100% on me, people notice that, and it can bring a lot of problems, especially with the ego. Like I think ego, the higher your ego is, to an extent, it makes you get stuck, and it pathologizes basically your mechanism of interest and to pursue pursuit, like going forward. Um, so it's it's really important to keep the ego at bay and be
Yeah.
nice, but being honest. Like you need to be honest while you're being nice. Like there's people that
There, there are conversations, man, that you and I have had. I won't say because you've asked me not to say them. Dang it, Spook.
Just say it.
I'm not going to. I respect our privacy. He's just genuine, man. Like you guys both hear him talking, right? Like you hear
Yeah.
what he. It's like yes, that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly right. I could talk about him more and expose him in ways he doesn't want me to, but I'm not going to do that for.
We'll do that off recording.
Yeah, and like just a genuine dude. And I know I interrupted you again. It's like the second time. There's the other side of you that hasn't gotten talked about ton yet that I want to get in before we end today is just what art means to you. What art means to you in the space. What excellent art should be. Like I want you to talk about art. And you have the prettiest art of all the art. If you know that reference, I love you for that. Another reference, you're dead to me.
Okay, Roy.
Yeah, I want you to talk about like when we write up questions and stuff. Like I wrote like a long-winded question about what does art mean to you? What does art mean to you, the space? Like just yeah, talk about that a little. I want people to hear what you have to say on those things.
first of all, I think um art for me, it's really it's really personal, the why I basically I'm attracted so much to art. But 'cause I don't want to get into sob stories.
But
It basically changed my life from the start. Like it's something that transformed everything I am. So even though I like art, I went um I was more, when I was a kid, I was more of a technical type of person. Um Even in school, like I went to college when I was 16, and I was interested in science and all these things. And art for me was a way to basically shut down that part of me being so analytical and looking for perfection, and um thinking about everything ahead. And it was a way to express myself. So it completely changed my life, and it was what the medium that I used to actually. I wasn't unhappy, but I felt the happiest when I was drawing because wasn't thinking about complex things. Like first, I went to school for biology and chemistry, and I enjoyed it, but I wasn't as happy as I was when I was doing art. And then I went to school, I finished my degree in psychology, and the same thing happens over there. I love like the technical aspects and even understanding how human behavior, and it's really interesting. But I came back to art to be really actually and honestly happy. So art for me it's everything. That's my human experience. Like for me it's everything, and I always see it like this. I think like if today was my last day on earth, what would I do? And it will be with my kids, my wife, my family, and draw. Honestly, I will ask them, even if you don't, I will tell my mom, like, even if you don't know how to draw a stick figure, you're gonna start drawing with me. That's my last wish, basically. And my kids, like, and just paint and draw and do art. But
I wish I
if we
was
got
an artist. I'm horrible. Like I can barely draw stick figures.
Let Spook hear that.
um It's so one funny thing, see, is that I don't want to even get into the sub story, but another reason I got into art it's because I'm stubborn as hell. Like um I have a neurological disease, basically. Disease is the right word?
Hmm.
I'm not sure.
The point the point is I shake like a chihuahua. My hands literally
Yeah, that's what
I
I have.
could yeah. I
Oh,
make smoothies. I could blend anything with my hands. That's how much I shake. Sometimes I'm pouring water and everything falls. But the thing is I went to a art class and the teacher told me, "Oh, you're not gonna be able to be an artist basically because there's a lot of like motor skills that you need for this." And I got really mad and I basically maybe the wrong idea at the point, but I was a kid. I was like, I'll show you. Oh yeah, I'll show you. And no
That's
matter
awesome.
how many times he told me, you're not gonna be able to draw, I kept pushing. And then I developed like my own way of doing it. So I think everyone has the ability to be creative. You just need to put in the work. It's about mileage. It's about how much you draw, and also to separate loving the idea of doing art and actually doing art, which is two different things. Like some people fall in love with the idea. They make just like me before starting into NFTs and the project. Like I was making the scenarios of me doing the project. The same thing happens with art where you're like, oh, I picture myself using a pencil and doing this idea, but you need to put in the work for sure. But
Hmm.
also now that I know you, if you ever need any help, well, hey, you can only draw a stick figure. I'll help you to make the best stick figure that you can. Like,
Spook does not get to help you on the villain competition. That's where you're
Oh, that's
headed.
right. Yeah, that's what I need help on. I need to draw my villain.
let me know. I'll help you. I'll give you tips. I'll give you tips. But yeah, I think everyone has the potential, like to do art. Just interest. Yeah.
I think you have a question. I was gonna say something, but I'll stop. I get excited when you
Oh,
talk.
it's just like a different subject. Have you been watching the World Cup? And who are you rooting for?
I would be lying if I said I was. Like
Boo,
I
boo, booing
that
you.
my
Dang,
life consists of going to work. At work I listen to audiobooks most of the time.
let's go.
Then I
Sport.
come home, I play with the kids some Switch. I draw with them or something like that. and then I go back again to painting. Even
I
at
can
work, I think.
attest to that. Spook, on average, how many hours a night do you sleep?
Well, today I slept like 40 minutes.
What did you do
Just
last night? What did you do last night?
I spent the whole night painting,
Like,
basically.
Wow.
it was very clear that I was like, it's very clear that Spook, you need to sleep. So you get distracted and lose sense of time. And hours later,
Hey, that's cool.
5 a.m.
Yeah.
It's dumb. And like, guys, I've seen Mooney's art, the NFT collection, and we'll talk about that here before we end. Progress, and like the version it's on. I haven't seen the final rendering here recently. Like, it's wild to see the like layering and the detail, the progression that has come about in the collection itself. He just can't stop. Spook has this like trigger that just gets stuck on. It just keeps improving and improving and improving and improving and improving. It's like, Spook, it's great. Let's go. We're ready. You know?
I'm
It,
excited.
it
Can't wait for minting.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. Like I'm really excited, but I want to give the people the best I have right now. Like I want not only for me to be proud, that's like my ego talking, like for me to be proud of what I deliver, but also for people when they mint, they're proud of it. Like I don't strive for perfection itself, but for people to be like I'm really glad that I have this piece over here. Like I'm really glad that I'm part of the project, and that's why I put all that stress. But it's kind of addicting. Like I said, I just love painting. Like Mega and Lee and everyone's like, you need to sleep, and I know so not sleeping is bad, but at the same time, what happens if I don't paint is that I go to bed, I start thinking about painting, and then I still go to bed at 5 a.m. thinking about painting or all the things I can improve. And it's like, I'm still gonna go to bed at 5 a.m. if I don't paint, so might as well paint. Even at the hospital, the other day I was at the hospital and Mega
Hospital,
is like, oh,
by the
yeah,
way.
yeah,
Like when he says he was in the hospital, he was in the hospital.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
wow.
what were you doing there?
I was painting. I messaged
What?
Mega. Here I am painting with the IV on and all these things, and they put me on a bunch of meds. And I'm like, I'm gonna paint. And I was in pain like crazy, but I'm like, I'm gonna paint,
Oh my
and
Um,
I think it's good as well. Last thing I'm gonna comment is that I did stop painting for some time, and um I got sick, cancer, bad things happened, and then I was bored in the hospital, and I decided to pick up a pencil and and start drawing while I was at the hospital for like 2 months or so, and that's when I felt I never lost the love for art, but it was like, oh, I don't have time. Oh, I was doing other stuff. I always found my way doing stuff with art, but like I was going to college and all these things. So, but um, even though it's something really negative, that experience also made me fall in love completely with art. And then after that, it has been like nonstop. At least I need to pick up a pencil like 5 minutes a day and do something.
we have a Genesis collection coming out. Moonizens NFT. We'll link the website, the Twitter profile, and everything on our Twitter, right, Whiskey? Whiskey, by the way, is the mad genius behind our Twitter account. Big ups to her. Gave Dragon props earlier for all that he does in editing and for Beast. Whiskey's been killing it. Just I'm not a creative person. I love creative people, but Whiskey's been doing a great job, and she's gonna post all the details on her Twitter when this episode goes live. But the Genesis collection's about to launch soon. Jump into the Discord, check out the website. My DMs are always open. I'm the community manager. Spook will always respond. So I just want to call out your project because it's not launched yet. It's about to happen. It's a lore based project. We talked about sci-fi earlier. Sci-fi lore based project. Moonizens are chewed, but not all cheweds are Moonizens. There's your Easter egg for podcast. But Spook, man, thank you for coming on. I'll let you Whiskey and Dragon finish.
Yeah. This actually, I feel like if you don't know about the Moonizens or you don't know who Spook is, have to podcast. I feel like my eyes were opened on
Yep.
who is behind this project, and that's so important in a space that the transparency is so important. So thank you for coming on and letting us expose kind of who Spook is.
Yep. Thank you for coming.
Perfect.
So that's the end of episode 5. Dang. Thank you for listening, and keep being chaotic and start fires.
I want to hear it.
Oh, Spook, send nudes.
Yes.
Soon.